And these children that you spit on as they try to change their world are immune to your consultations. They're quite aware of what they're going through. Changes. Don't tell them to grow up and grow out of it. Changes. Turn and face the strange. Where's your shame? You've left us up to our next end. Time may change me, but you can't trace time.
Thank you for joining me in today's webcast. This is the first in a series, hopefully, of webcasts that I'll be doing for Transparent Change. My name is Sean CARLSON. I am an Enterprise Transformation Advisor. What that means is that pretty much everything that I do involves some sort of change. So I want to start off by pardoning myself. I do have a cold. I'm trying to get over it, and my voice will come and go but we'll try to keep my keep my voice loud and pardon the coughing. So like I was saying, in every role that I've had throughout my career in the software industry, there's always been a theme of change running through it. Sometimes it's not so easy to manage that change. Change is difficult. Change is hard. Change comes in all forms. The thing about change, though, is that without it, we're dying. So the change is always occurring. One thing that I've noticed that happened to me, that it even has a name now, and that name is a true north growth hacker. Now, Sean Ellis coined this phrase a few years back because he was having a difficult time finding a particular type of person that he was wanting. So he was wanting somebody that was always looking for ways to grow the company, always looking for ways to transform, ways to change. And so that's the type of person that I am. When I walk into a company, I see a holistic view. I can't just go in with a myopic view. I go in and I notice everything. I have to see things from a larger perspective, larger angle, larger view. A growth hacker is a person whose true north, as I mentioned, is growth, where they scrutinize everything based upon whether or not it's a value add. I look for a value add. Is this going to be valuable to somebody at the end? Are they willing to pay for it? Only if a case can be made, though, that it is important for driving sustainable growth do we do things that aren't talking about scalable growth. Sustainable growth, what that means is, for example, a competitor does this, so therefore we have to do it just to maintain and just to stay in sync with the market. That we're not really disrupting it, we're not growing by adding it, but we have to do it so that we do not lose that ground. So let's move along. So how do we build a foundation of change? That's what I'm passionate about. If there's a foundation that we build based on the fact that we're always changing, then change isn't a big thing. Change happens every day. Yeah, so we go and we move with it. It's like agile to the extreme, but agile for the world. You see the change, you adapt, whether it's disruptive or whether it's not. Here's some information just on how to get in touch with me. If you want to come back to this slide, you're able to. So let's talk about today's agenda. It's going to be real quick today, just a brief introduction. So why do we change? Why do we need leadership? How do we change? And the end goal being the plan for change. So why do we change? Well, if you think about it and look at it, this little island, that used to be us, or that used to be you, okay? Now, this is the island. Do you notice how much shoreline there is there? As our island of knowledge grows, so does our shore of ignorance. And I'll let you look up to see what John Wheeler invented, and it's even a little more ironic. There will always be good ideas out there, but we don't always have the capability or capacity to exercise against them or exercise towards them. So we have to think about it really hard. And where along this shore of ignorance do we prepare ourselves? This happens in our personal lives as well. So anytime we change, anytime we go somewhere, anytime something happens, there's a new thing to learn. So our ignorance grows. Another way of looking at it is we have too much information. So we have both positive, negative information, then we have information just thrown at us. In most cases, it's way too complex for us to understand because we're removed from that information. Why do I need to know? Because as I'm scrutinizing and I'm looking through all of this data and I'm seeing all these charts, uncertainty and inconsistency wreaks havoc and chaos in most people's worlds. So we strive for clarity through some transparency. Does change ever wait? No. Are we ever overwhelmed by change? We absolutely are all the time. This is a slide I love, an example of waterfall versus agile. So are we prepared for that waterfall of change? No. So how do we get prepared? And this is why we need leadership. Okay, because if we build this foundation of change and there's some disruptive influence that comes along, it's okay because it's an opportunity. We become those little fish that are eating away at the stingray's underside there. It becomes an opportunity that we can turn things into. Is change management crucial? Yes, but it's superficial. Okay, it's the leadership that we need and the direction that we need to be able to build that foundation. So we must align it with our change vision. Okay, so this foundation of change that I'm talking about, it's not just because of some disruptive influence, but it's the ability to recognize these opportunities and ability to seize the moment before this disruptive influence and motivation is gone and becomes a cost to our profit and loss statement. So we build this foundation of change so people recognize change and we adapt to it and we grow with it. Why do we need these visions and values to be able to move with change? Because our vision and our values are what we pivot to when we question our actions and our decisions. So those decisions and those actions, we always need to be able to go back and say, oh, it's because we had this value or this vision. Okay, it provides clarity and it provides a degree of transparency, both which build trust. I like to call it a working agreement. This is an agile term again, but a working agreement is a set of rules, discipline, processes that the team agrees to follow. So inconsistency again wreaks havoc, and we need to be able to have consensus. We must have a consensus. So that's why we have the 5-finger vote in Agile. Are you a 3 or 4? 3 means we can't quite move on. We have to have everybody at least at a 4 to be able to move on, to be able to make that agreement. Are people resistant to change? Yes, people are resistant to change. The best way to address it is not to ignore it. It's to expect it, to plan for it, and to proactively address it. There is an emotional toll that comes with change that is in most cases completely overlooked. That there's a wave of betrayal, shock, and denial and disbelief. That we have an identity crisis that we're suffering and that we're searching and finally we're accepting. This is the same thing that happens to us in our own lives. For change to be successful, we have to have sponsorship. And this leadership sponsorship has to have focus and it has to have purpose. The secret of change is to focus. Focus all our energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Socrates said it then, and it's very true now. So in the end, our plan or our goal is to collect ideas and then to value those ideas based on one another and then to get some buy-in. So we have our projects and we have our agreed definitions, this definition of what value is. That's why we need vision. And then lastly, that it aligns with what we're strategically trying to accomplish. Now, there is no need to worry. Your coach is here. We have our plan. We have our change manager. We have our work-life coach, someone to vent to. And then we have the coach to help you through. Thank you. Have a great day. Oh, and don't forget to check the appendix for some more information at the end there. What are you still doing here? Oh, I know what you're waiting for. Just like my last 5 Scrum teams, the stand-up isn't over until SHAUN says the magic words. Okay, everybody, have a great day.
I still don't know what I was waiting for, and my time was running wild. A million dead-end streets, and every time I thought I got it made, it seemed the taste was not so sweet. So I turned myself to face me, but I've never caught a glimpse of how the others must see